he's had a fair bit of time, Craig Burley, to kind of get his feet under the desk. What do you think is his most pressing priority as Chelsea's new manager?
Well, I think obviously the obvious is results to start with. I mean, there's so many results, confidence, but I think the main things, if you're looking at it from an individual, facets of the team, cogs to the wheel. Can I get any more phrases in there? Help me out here. I think goal scoring is people talk about starting from the back and you build from the back, and I get that. But a big part of Chelsea's problem is their goal scoring, and that's obviously why they've chased a striker. They signed Aubameyang, which was a Tuchel signing. I know it doesn't really make a lot of sense when you're going to sack him, but there we are. That's the new sort of structure at Chelsea. But I think finding somebody that's playing regular and scoring, because none of the incumbents were or are prolific. And we've just seen two leave, one to Italy and one back to Germany in the summer. So I think that would be first and foremost. I think performance and aesthetics would be another. I think there has been some good performances from Chelsea under Tuchel, of course there has. But there's been a lot of poor games to watch. And generally, Graham Potter's Brighton side have been good to watch, as you well know. And with a limited budget compared to what he's working with at Chelsea. So I think the style of play as well was a little pedestrian at times, which I don't think it helped in my first point. So I think that would be one of the things. And then just fostering a good camp, And I suppose if you're looking at it from an American perspective, this question that keeps coming up about Christian Pulisic, it drives me nuts. These sort of thin-skinned American soccer followers who keep harping on about the new start for Christian Pulisic and why people want to play him. And so I suppose that'll be of interest to our American viewers, what happens with Pulisic. But as I've been saying from day one, Christian Pulisic is not and never has been dropped because of his nationality. He's been dropped because managers have felt there's been better options. And as I've said for 24/7, it seems, these managers are under so much pressure and it's such a high-profile job. They all want to look good. No manager wants to look bad. And so you always pick what you think is your best team for that occasion. And so trying to convince some of the thin-skinned followers that live in some paranoid world about Americans don't get picked, that's going to be an interesting thing to see what Graham Potter does with Pulisic. But I kind of feel it'll be more of the same. So there's lots of things to look for, how he'll shape up with Koulibaly in the back line and how he'll try and get him to play out. I think it's really interesting that Chelsea haven't gone for the next big, huge name out there, and they've gone for a guy who is just really, really slowly built a terrific reputation. When Spurs hired Antonio Conte, or were about to hire him, I really felt they should have gone for Graham Potter, because I really feel it's a long-term view. And not that Tottenham don't have a good manager, they do. But you and I know, and almost everybody watching this knows, at the drop of a hat, Conte could have a fit and leave. That's the way he is. Everything's great at the moment. But I really think with Potter, there's a long-term view for clubs. Now, the big question is, has Todd Boehly and this football club that hasn't had long-term views since the early 2000s, really, in the late 1990s, are they going to give this man that long-term time and vision to sort things out? Because if I think they do, I think it could work well. But if they keep going in the manner in which they've been going, then Graham Potter could be like all the managers that have gone before him a couple of years later. Thank you very much for the nice payday. I'm going to move on. So I think it really is an intriguing appointment, and on the face of it, a very, very good manager.
He is, and what he's done and the way he's come from Östersund to Swansea to Brighton and now to Chelsea. But patience, as we all know, back when you played, even before that, there isn't much patience in football. And we hope that he does well. He's been given a 5-year deal and told, look, you don't finish top 4 first season, Don't worry about it. That's certainly the aim. But will he get as much patience from supporters as someone like Pochettino might have done, who's a bigger name, but Graham Potter has been chosen ahead of him? Is there a short leash, not from Chelsea, but from the outside, the Chelsea fans, or a shorter leash if he doesn't get success quickly? Or can they be patient?
No, I don't think so. I think fans are very blinkered in a sense that they see what their team are doing. And even if immediate results are not there, if performances and getting fans off their seats and seeing entertaining football, they can see that vision and what's coming. I think they'll live with it. I think if Pochettino came in and did something the same and was having a bad time, he would be viewed the same. Ex-Tottenham guy, blah, blah, blah. That. So I think Chelsea fans,
true.
I know we rub fans up the wrong way. I say we, maybe me. I shouldn't generalise. But I think as a general rule of thumb, apart from one or two morons out there, most fans see what they see. They know what he did at Brighton. They know his style of football. They know it's a big step up from him. And it's not like he's replacing Guardiola at Man City or Klopp at Liverpool, where, let's be honest, it was a sea change in the way those clubs played. I mean, some of the most out-of-the-world styles, Liverpool slightly different, pacey, dynamic. It was off your seat. City was silky and just smothering teams. It wasn't that great every week at Chelsea. Let's be honest. So it's not coming in replacing one of those two, where the levels was up here, standards were right up here. Chelsea have been a hit and a miss, and so I'm confident he'll get this team playing equally as well, if not better, than what Thomas Tuchel had. And then let's just see if the results come with it. And I think, as I said, for me, it's a very good appointment.
Which goalkeeper should he select, Craig?
Well, the one that's fit at the moment, because Mendy's got a bad knee, hasn't he? So, yeah, I think Edward Mendy will play when fit. He's made a couple of howlers over the last couple of years. Not so much with his hands, but more with his feet. But that's another thing that Potter will want, to keep us playing out from the back. You and I never understand that, do we? When I played and you were watching back in the day, I know you're still watching, but when you're watching back in the day and Big Shaka was playing, that ball needed paracetamol. It didn't. It needed Advil after the game because the keepers were humping up the park. It was like a scalding hot potato. It's just a different game now, and the keepers sort of have to accept that. We saw Bernd Leno, in some sense, changed at Arsenal, not just for that, but partly for it, because Ramsdale, as well as being a good keeper, is much better with his feet, and it's something all these keepers, Mendy included, are going to have to figure out. And but it's not something that they signed up for. That's what I would say. As a goalkeeper, you never ever signed up for this, but it's now part of the modern game, and you have to get your head around it.
Finally, is there one, or are there a few players who are absolutely delighted that Potter is now at Chelsea for whatever reason, whether they're not playing, now they think they've got a chance, or like Mason Mount, for one, hasn't started the season very well, but I think he could really benefit from Graham Potter. And concurrently, are there others who are maybe thinking, oh, it's Graham Potter. I was all right with Tuchel, but I'm not sure I'm going to be all right now.
Well, I think Cucurella will be quite pleased seeing his former manager come in. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I honestly don't. I mean, I think there's maybe one or two French players for them, and I mentioned Pulisic, and there's others, Ziyech and one or two others who may look at it and think, well, a bit frustrating. Maybe I'll get a better chance. Maybe not. So you've always got that sense, but I don't think the big players are going to be worried about being dropped. I think they're way too long in the tooth for that now. So yeah, I don't think, it's not like there's some dictator coming in. He's a very level-headed guy, and you play well and you do the job for him, guess what? You'll probably play. And that's the rule of thumb across the board. So looking forward to seeing how Chelsea shape up under this new guy.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.